All right, our reading for today is 1 Corinthians chapter 8. Now, concerning things offered to idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffs up, but love edifies. So, Paul's starting a new topic, and this is in response to a letter that the church of Corinth had sent to him back in chapter 7, verse 1. It starts off with, "Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me." So he kind of starts to address their questions. So this is an answer in chapter 8 to their question about things offered to idols. So he says, we all have knowledge, but knowledge puffs up, but love edifies. So if you think you already know everything about a subject, you're not going to listen to anyone else. You're going to think that you are the main one, the only one whose opinion matters. So he's saying that's prideful, that puffs up. And he contrasts pride with love, that love edifies. Love builds up other people. Pride, thinking more highly of ourselves than we ought, that just puffs us up. And if anyone thinks that he knows anything, he knows nothing, yet as he ought to know. But if anyone loves God, this one is known by him. Therefore, concerning the eating of things offered to idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is no other God but one. But even if there are so-called gods, whether in heaven or on earth, as there are many gods and many lords, yet for us there is one God, the Father, of whom are all things, and we for him, and one Lord Jesus Christ, through whom are all things, and through whom we live. So they're in Corinth, they're in a secular city, they're surrounded by idols, fake gods. However, there is not in everyone that knowledge. For some, with consciousness of the idol, until now, eat it as a thing offered to an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled. But food does not commend us to God, for neither if we eat are we the better, nor if we do not eat are we the worse. But beware lest somehow this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to those who are weak. For if anyone sees you who have knowledge eating in an idol's temple, will not the conscience of him who is weak be emboldened to eat those things offered to idols? And because of your knowledge shall the weak brother perish for whom Christ died? But when you thus sin against the brethren, and wound their weak conscience, you sin against Christ. Therefore, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never again eat meat, lest I make my brother stumble. So, how can we summarize the lesson from chapter 8? They're living in a secular society. Some of the idolatry that existed in Corinth involved offering meat to idols. Some of this meat that had been offered to an idol would end up in the market where people would buy their food, where Christians would buy their food. So how do they know whether or not it had been offered to an idol? He's saying is those idols are fake. There's nothing spiritually wrong with the meat. There's nothing wrong with a person with a clear conscience, a Christian that loves Jesus, to go grocery shopping, buy meat which is to beyond their knowledge have been offered to an idol. There's nothing wrong with them eating it. However, because some of the people are so close to that secular lifestyle, they may see a Christian eating that meat and in their mind think, well, it's okay for me to still eat this meat that's offered to idols, of a lifestyle that they might be trying to get away from, and so thereby cause them to stumble. So that's why at the end he says, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never again eat meat, lest I make my brother stumble. So he's saying that even though there may not be anything specifically wrong with it, if it has a negative influence on another believer, then I will abstain from it out of my love and concern for them. He makes